There we go.
And thank you, Denise, for joining us this afternoon. We're looking forward to tic-tac-toe with you.
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me. So I'm sorry that we couldn't do our original plan, but I will try to get that figured out for next time. So this is called it's just a tic-tac-toe choice board. I had seen one somewhere online and I'm like, that's pretty easy to make and anyone can make it as long as you know how to use Google Slides. So I have one here that I don't know how to get rid of that little thing there, but that's okay. I have one here that I am going to actually use for a project with my students tomorrow. They don't know they're getting this yet, but they are. And let's see if I can move. I feel bad that this is this bar. There we go. Okay, so I'm on my first slide. I kind of wanted to share what one looks like completed. And then I thought I would walk someone through the steps if they want to create one on their own. So basically, this is a slideshow in Google Slides. And my first slide, I entered a table. And in the table, I have 9 different boxes. And as a tic-tac-toe works, you try to get 3 in a row, either like an X or like a cross. And so I tried to be very careful when I put different activities in so that they wouldn't have 2 writing activities or they could have a variety. And honestly, if a student doesn't like, if they all have to do the middle box, but if a student doesn't like 2 here and here or 2 here and here, I let them pick any 2 they want. It really is about choice. It doesn't matter to me, oh no, you can't do that, they're not in the right order. I think that's silly. So, but it makes them feel like they have choice. Hopefully they can find a tic-tac-toe that works, but as long as they can find the middle one and 2 others that I think are, worthy for this project. And there is an option down on the bottom right-hand corner for a free choice that if they have some really great idea of their own, I want to hear it because maybe I'll use it in my choice board next time around. So yeah, so I always give them a free choice, but I'm pretty particular and they really have to, argue their case for their project. And in most cases, if they're going to take the time to do that, it's usually pretty good. So anyway, I made this board. And if I go into, I don't know if it might let me go into presentation mode.
Yep.
Hopefully not mess anything up. All right, so here's how it works. It's pretty simple. So the directions say start with number 5 and then make 2 other choices to make your tic-tac-toe. And I'm going to put us back up here for a second. So each one has directions so that they can decide, take a look a little bit closer what each of the activities entails to decide which ones they want to do. They might think it sounds great until they go look at the directions and then they're like, oh, that's not what I thought it was. So my directions say start with number 5. So I'm going to click on that one and you can see that it has directions and that's actually a link to a different slide in the slideshow. And so if we click on it, it takes us to activity 5, indifference. It's mandatory for everyone and it explains to them what they need to do for that slide. What's really cool also about this is you should always have a way somewhere on your slide for them to get back to the original table. So down in the bottom right-hand corner, I just put a little link to, and I'll show everyone how to link it. It's easy. How to link to get back to that original choice board so that they can, oops, hold on a second. Oh, there we go. So this takes them back and every single slide has that and it's consistent throughout on that bottom right-hand corner. And so we can work our way through and say, oh, I want to do a soundtrack. And so they click on it and it takes them to the slide that explains the instructions for the soundtrack. I always have for me, the center box is the main slide and everything they do in the project works off that center slide. And so, and it focuses on the big question of the novel. So we read the novel Night and the big question pertains to that. And then all of the activities will be pulling information to that.
Cool.
Does that explain it enough?
Yeah.
Okay. So what I thought we could do, if I can move that out of the way, I'm going to go back to my other, I feel like I wish I could like try and move that down there. I'm always moving things around. Okay. So I thought the best thing to show would be a blank slideshow and how to insert the different elements that need to be in there. And once you figure it out for one or two, it's actually quite simple. Does that sound like the best?
That sounds great. Yeah.
Okay. And I feel like if anyone joins, please let me know, because I don't know if I will know that, because I feel like I should maybe take a step back and explain or show that previous slideshow.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to start with a blank. I just went to the 9 little dots, and I opened up a new slideshow, a new Google slideshow, and I haven't even titled it yet. So I will call it practice tic-tac-toe.
Did you know there's a quick way to do to get a new blank slide show in the Omnibox, which is the one that has the URL and everything? If you just go there and you type new.slide, it opens a brand new slideshow.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Awesome.
And it works for doc or yeah.
I do feel like you shared that with me. So you just say new doc, new slide, new sheet. Is it for Google Sheets?
Yes.
That's cool.
I think it works for form too.
I'm going to try it.
Okay.
I like that. That's great. Thank you that's
welcome.
A great little tip. So I just titled it, and then on my first slide, and the other thing too that I like is if you don't like the size of the slides, you can always go into page setup. And I, a lot of times, like to change it to 8.5 by 11. So it actually looks, or you could actually make it square. So it's completely square. And you just go in to custom and you can put 8.5 by 11 inches. I just left this one as is. So it actually looks like a slideshow. Okay, so the first thing that you'll want to do is go in and insert a table. And mine is a 9 blocks, so it's 3 by 3. And then you can enlarge it to whatever size you want. There we go. For now, that's good. And you can give it a title, just insert a text box and give it a title. And then just call it title. And then here, you can also insert a text box with directions. And I, there we go. So that the title of the table will be there, the directions, and you can type it out just like on mine. Mine says night final project, tic-tac-toe choice board, and then my directions say how to do it, and then my table is underneath. All right, and so let's go back here. And then the first thing you'll do is type in, I like to put the numbers across. Everyone probably has a different order. So you can see on this one, it's numbered 1, 2, 3, and it's activity 1, activity 2, activity 3. So I like to just go in and put my numbers in, activity 1, 2, 3, so on and so forth, 4. And you can, do any font you want, make it fancy. I usually get the basics in first. 7, 8, and 9. There we go. So now my tiles are numbered. The next thing that I like to do is go in. I guess it doesn't matter. It's whatever the person creating it prefers. I like to go in and connect all of my pages first. So I would go down in my box and I would type in the word directions, and then I'll copy that and I will paste it into each of the boxes. I don't know if that's the easiest way.
Great.
Sometimes my brain thinks differently than other And there's usually a better way than mine. So, okay. So I'm just pasting in the word directions. Oops.
No, that's a good time saver.
While I'm at it, yes. Okay, and so I'm almost done with that. Oh, I think that moved it down a little. Oops. Space. There we go. And one more, sorry. Okay, I wish I could do like the fast forward thing like when I see people doing videos, it's like, okay, so we've got that in there. And I feel like, I don't know, I feel like it's off, but I'm not going to worry about it. I know the bottom box is bigger than the others, and that makes me crazy sometimes. But what you want to do is highlight it. And you can see that I've created what I might do. Let me now go to the left-hand side. I'm going to create some pages for the directions for each activity. So I would start with page 1. And then I'm going to do 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so now I have all of my pages, and I can type now activity 1 directions. And you'll see that that will go on that page. And then I'll type this. I'm only going to do maybe the first 3 to show people how to do it.
So if you wanted a quicker way to do this,
Yes.
when you have activity 1 page written up the way you want it, you can always duplicate that slide.
That's what I should have done. Yes, that's a great idea.
So
I should have done that. Yes. And then I could just copy. Oops.
You just duplicate the slide and then change that number.
So let me just actually go in and do that as a quick demo here. So you just go to File, and you would make a copy of the selected slide. And then, no, that's not what I want.
Let's go to, I think it might be under slide, duplicate slide.
That's where it is. Duplicate slide. There we go.
Or if you right click on it, control click on it, the window will pop down, I think.
And then I just need to go in and change this to activity 2, and then change this one to activity 3, and so on and so forth.
Great.
Okay, so you would just do that for all of your slides. Then when you go back up here, I would, let's call this, I'm just going to type it out. I'm just going to call it activity 1. And I'm going to put it in bold just so people can see that. And I would obviously give it a name. Like in my other one, I called it soundtrack, create a work of art, 1-pager, so that the kids can see, what it is. I wouldn't call it activity 1 here. And then what I do is I highlight the word directions. And then I go up here, and on my toolbar, I open up. Oh, it actually is right here. It's this, I don't need to open it up. It was already there. It's this little chain link, insert link. And when you insert link, it will allow you to connect it to slides in your slideshow. And so usually a lot of times when you put in a link, you're putting in a URL to take you to a website or to a Google document or something. In this case, you want to link it to a slide that's in your slideshow already. And it tells me right there, because I've already named my slides, it tells me, hey, slide 2 is activity 1 directions. That's the one I want. So I link it right there. And then I can do this for activity 2. And I just go up to the link button, and now I want to go to activity 2 directions. And then this one, I want to go to activity 3 directions. And so because I've already named them, it made it a lot easier for me to select those options. So that's kind of a little trick. So you go in, name them. So I'm only going, clearly I would do this for all 9 of my slides. And then I would just go in and I would type in whatever directions I would want for this particular activity. Oh, the other thing I wanted to do was show real quick I want to insert a little box down on the right hand side. Let me go to the slide here. I want to insert a text box down here that says return to home or return to table. I could call it, I'll call it table two. Or I could call it TicTacToe board, or I could even go find a cute little image. I could just go to insert an image, search the web for like a back button or something. But I kind of wanted it to be specific. I don't want to go back to a previous slide. I just wanted it to go back to the table. So, and I can make that smaller. I can highlight it. I think that's kind of big, but you can leave it as whatever size you want. I'll leave it this size. I'm going to highlight it. And then now when I go to the little link button at the top, I am linking it to the first slide. And it should work. When I click on it, yes, it takes me back to the table. So it's actually that simple, really. It's not a difficult, you can make it as fancy as you want. You can see on mine, I'm gonna drag that down. On mine, I tried to do two different colors in the same color scheme, but then I made the center one different so that it stands out, because that's the one they know they must do. And that's the one that connects all of the others if they're going to do the tic-tac-toe choice board. You can do this with any choice board. You don't have to have it a tic-tac-toe. It just is fun to say. And that's all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's something they understand. They understand tic-tac-toe.
They do. Yep. And so like I put, because this is about the novel Night and it's about the Holocaust, and I put a symbol there also to make that one stand out, of the Star of David, because that's a symbol that the students in my class recognize. And you can make it as fancy as you want. You can change your table properties. So I have the border color. I've picked gray, and you can make it as thick as you want. You can make it, you can see that it made that box right there pretty thick. So you can play with the border, that's around the table. Looks like this one's kind of off right here. So that's something I'll have to go back and fix before sharing it with the students tomorrow. But
Well, it just looks like it doesn't have a
it's gonna have my little border around it.
So yeah,
Let's do it here.
there you go.
Here, and now it's there. Easy fix. So yeah, so I'm pretty clear like what I gave them before I did my activity 1 slide. I snuck a slide in there with some like, here's the big question. Everything you do is based on this big question and what we've been studying. So this is an end of the book project instead of doing a test. They're so good at Googling answers to things. So I try to pick things that hopefully that they have to create on their own and they can't Google answers. And I just remind them. And like I said, there's a little return to the main table at the bottom of each one. And each one is just clearly labeled with a title. It's super simple.
So what elements do you have on every one of these slides?
On every slide, I have a clear title that says what activity, the directions, what activity it is and the directions that go with it. I believe I put the big question on every slide to remind them that that's the connecting factor between all of the projects that they can choose. I have the return down at the bottom right-hand corner. I have the return to the main table. And pretty much you could link, anything you want if you wanted to put something. I just try to keep it simple, as simple as possible. I did, the one thing that I do have down there is created by me on the bottom. Good. And the way that I did that, I will go back to my main slide. I think I went under, let me find it here. Slides, no. View, I'll find it here. I know, insert, nope, format. Nope. I think it's here, edit theme. It's under edit theme. So you go to slide and you go to edit theme. And on this very first slide, I just typed it right in there. And if you type it in there, it will repeat, and people can't remove it unless they go in to edit your slide. And then you can, I don't really mess with a lot of this other stuff because I don't know enough about it, honestly.
Right.
But I did learn somewhere at a conference that I went to that you can, if you put it on that first slide right there, that it will show up on all of your other slides.
Yeah. So, and again, if you have certain elements that you want on every activity slide, you can create the first slide, and put your name, put your activity title, put your big question, put your link back to the TicTacToe board,
Right.
and then duplicate that slide as many times as you want. In this case, 9 times.
Correct. And that would have saved a lot of time as well. Yep. Yeah.
Well, just trying to,
Oh, absolutely.
everyone is so busy.
Yes, absolutely.
Mhm.
You're right. And then that would have, by putting some of those key elements there and duplicating that, and again, that's under slide and a duplicate slide. Good.
Right. Once you have the slide done that you like, the way you like it. Yep. So, I really like this project. I like the fact also that it's relatively easy to create. I mean, obviously there has to be some thought in the first place about the 9 activities that you want them to do and how they're interconnected.
Absolutely.
I also like the way you said that you think about the type of activity and arrange them so they can get a tic-tac-toe by doing 2 different kinds of activities.
Right.
But then you give them the flexibility that they can pick any 2 they want anyway.
Right. Yeah.
But,
Ultimately,
yeah.
So it just gives a lot of flexibility. The initial part, the first time honestly, I have done this one once before and then I lost it. And so I had to recreate it all. And before vacation, I was working on that. And so when we were talking about a topic to do, I'm like, well, this is something I'm doing right now you can apply it in so many different ways too. Like if you have a math teacher and you want students to practice certain skills, you could say, click on this slide and you could like make slide 1 multiplication, and then over here on that slide 1 where activity 1 is multiplication, then maybe you have links to other things where students can go to get practice with multiplication. So it could be also just it doesn't have to be a tic-tac-toe. It can just be a very visual way for students to click on something to get to something else.
Right. Even if it's they're doing a research project and you have resources in different categories that you want them to use.
Right.
For instance, if you're researching a certain area and you want them to do all the aspects of making what makes a culture in this area. So, I mean, it could be food, people, clothing, jobs, resources, industries, anything like that. So this is great for a social studies project as well.
Yes, it's actually really like this table is really like a table of contents in a way that just helps you navigate to the correct slide in the slideshow. There is something else I did. I don't know if I can find it. Let me see if I can quickly.
Sure.
It's under ELA. Oh, I don't have it. I don't have it up. Let me see if I can go find it real quick. I made sort of like a slideshow. Let's see if I can find it. ELA slides. Let me see what it's called. Standards.
I think I just saw it.
Really?
The second one down, is that it?
Well,
The grid,
it's
standards and learning targets?
Well, it's a
No.
slideshow. It should be a slideshow, right?
Okay, so if you go, if you click out of that side, yeah, there you go. Then you can go just for presentations. Yeah.
There we go.
And then type it in.
Just had it up the other day. Oh boy, I got a lot of stuff here.
Well, if you hit the
Uh,
recent
Right here.
button, you
There
might
it
be able to
is.
see it.
Yeah,
Did you
here it
find it?
is.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm sorry, this isn't the most beautiful thing, but it's super helpful for me.
Mhm.
And I shared it with all of the language arts teachers when we were looking at our updated standards. And you can see I changed the shape of this slide. So it's not like, I went into, page settings and changed it to something, I don't know what, but anyway, it's more square.
Mhm.
But if you go to the second page, I made a table of contents. I
Nice.
probably could have made like a little table, like a grid, and said language or whatever. But if you click on these links, it just takes you to the slide in the slideshow that has that. And I just color coded them all. And I think I have up in the top right-hand corner, I just have this little image to take me back to the original slide, the original table of contents, same concept.
Yep.
So you can use it for, it's just a really neat way to organize and have, instead of having to scroll through all of the slides in a slideshow, if you have that navigation page at the beginning, that really is helpful. And so this isn't very appealing, but it does have those common elements, like get you back to that first slide. I didn't even think that I could show that, but that's just another way to share. It's a great way for students to organize material too. Keep notes. They could keep notes, and they could have like different topics in the grid, and they can easily make more more boxes as they go in their table. They can just add another row, another column, whatever they want. So yeah, so that's kind of what
Once
I
you have
have.
once you have all the hyperlinks in and everything, you could even make a copy of this slideshow, and then all your hyperlinks would be in, and you just change your 9 pieces here, and then your
Mhm.
directions on those 9 slides.
Absolutely.
So
That's good.
once you've made, or just make one without any of the like soundtrack media, or create work of art, or any of the directions on the 9,
Like a
and save
blank.
it as a template. And
That's a great.
then when you open it up, you'll have to name it, and it never touches the original.
That's perfect.
Great
Perfect.
time saver there.
Well, and what's really nice is if you consistently use something like this, the students then quickly understand how to navigate. And that also is super helpful, especially for students who need structure
Mhm.
and
Absolutely. And it also gives them a way to see how it's used, and maybe they'll choose to use some of the techniques that you've used,
right.
hyperlinking between pages, or, even just putting hyperlinks in there to
Right.
websites in their notes and stuff. So uh, wonderful activity. Thank you, Denise, for sharing this.
I mean, I felt like when we were talking originally about like what to do, I thought it might be too simple, but I think it's just a great, easy way. It's a great, easy way to organize information. So then what I do for tomorrow is I have this set up in Google Classroom, and I give each student, in this case, they're not putting any work into this. They do not need to alter anything and I put the rubric at the end. But they don't need to alter any slides. They don't need to put any work on it. So I most likely will give them view only access. But if I wanted it to be so that they could each type into the slides or change the slides, then I probably would give each student their own copy in Google Classroom. And then what they could do is, put their work on the slide, eliminate the slides that they don't need, and then only have the slides that they do need and then that's nice because it's kind of connected already in Google Classroom, and I can click on each student and see where they are, what they have completed. And so,
Right.
Yeah.
They
So
could even come to this front tic-tac-toe board and put a check or an X or an O on the ones that they did.
I like that idea. Yeah, that's a great idea.
Then they've got tic-tac-toe.
And I would clearly be able to see, what they're working on, what they've selected. And
Right.
I like that. I'm glad we talked before I present this to them tomorrow. This is what's great about these sessions. So.
Exactly. So, and I thank you for giving us some other ideas of how to use it as well, because, not many of us do like a reading book. Not many of us do a book that has those kind of choices, but I mean, you could do it for a science project, and all the different parts of your science project could be the tic-tac-toe.
Right.
And in that case, you'd have to have a blackout to win.
Right.
Right.
Oh, yeah. You can do all sorts of little
Yeah.
technique. Do an L,
Yeah.
if you would, or
Yeah.
So it's fun. It's something different. They get tired of writing essays all the time, or and
you do have an essay as a choice.
I do.
Yes. But
for those who like to write, yes, let me go back to that. I tried to, or they could write a story. They could write a poem. So like if someone really likes to write, then I would let them choose number 8, 4, 5, and 8. I don't mind as long as they're showing me what they've learned from this book and they're understanding what they're supposed to be understanding, then I'm okay with all of it. They just don't know that.
Exactly. And one of the ways I've seen hyperlinks used, not necessarily in this format, but for students to create choose their own adventure.
Yes.
Story. Yeah. So, I mean, that could even be one of the choices on the tic-tac-toe board, is to choose your own adventure, create. So they have to look at options that the characters had. So they pick a character and what are some of the options and what would have been the results of those actions, did they think? So, I mean, that's really a lot of conjecture, and they really have to understand the time that it took place in and what the other characters are doing. And so I just loved that project when they did that. And it was similar to, it was actually, I think they were using the book Night when they did that. And they all took different characters in the book. And so, and they had to make 3 choices, I think, but.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is just like a foundation for so many options. And it would be really cool if there were other people in the room who were like different grade levels or different subject areas, because I'm sure in their mind, they would be like, I can use this for this, or I can. So I just love, I think that's the best part of PD, is to be able to, network with other people and just get ideas like, oh, I never thought of that. What a great idea.
And it's hard to do it the Monday after vacation, but we're going to ask people to put comments below the video when we post the video on ways that they would use it in their grade level or subject area.
Beautiful. I love that. And I'll go check it out, because I am sure that I could be using this differently as well, or for, for other things that I do. So,
yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Denise, for being with us today. I always learn something new when I hang out with you, and
here. Same here. I do with you as well.
Well, have a good rest of your afternoon.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.